Hello, Kansas City. Hello, UMKC. You're listening to the Benchwarmers. I'm your host/producer, Brad Ross, and sitting by me always is the one, the only, Ian Yoakum. Ian, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pretty cold and gloomy day outside, and I think that kind of matches one of our team's weeks, I would say.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, I'm really happy right now. You know why?
I think I know why. I think it might have to do something with the team that's not the Royals right now.
Well, that too, but there's another reason why I'm really happy.
It's not because of the Chiefs?
No.
Oh, well,
I'll give you a clue.
The other reason?
I'm sitting on it.
You're sitting on it. Oh, okay. In case you guys don't know what he's even talking about, we had this bet at the very end of our last show where if the Chiefs ended up trading up for a quarterback or just drafting a quarterback at all, that was the terms of the bet, that Brad would get the fancy chair that was in our room. And then if the Chiefs didn't get the quarterback, then I was going to get the fancy, comfortable chair. But we all know what happened, and now Brad is sitting in the comfortable chair, and I'm sitting in the less comfortable chair.
Yeah, it's got to be honest, I can't tell a difference. It looks cooler.
That's what matters, right? Especially for a radio show.
We might have to post a picture of it up on Facebook. Definitely, at the end of the show, we should come up with another bet and see over this next week, and then whoever wins that bet gets the chair. Maybe we can make this a weekly thing.
I agree. Yeah, we could just have like weekly bets on top of our fantasy baseball bet that we have going. Remember, if I finish ahead of you in the standings, then I guess it doesn't matter who wins it. The winner gets $20 worth of Applebee's.
Yeah, so, it's pretty close right now. I'm in 5th, you're in 3rd, and that's out of 17 teams, but
you're catching up because you were down there.
I was 15th place for a while and 10th place around there. But you know what they say about coaches? They are the reason why their teams win. That's what they say about them.
That is true. So I guess you're being Ned Yost right now, at least 2015 Ned Yost.
All right, so let's talk about some good things. So let's go ahead and talk about the NFL draft. All right, so over this past weekend, we got to see the yearly occurrence of college players being drafted by professional teams and going to their teams. It's been really exciting. A lot of talk about what the Chiefs will do at number 27, whether they would trade up and try to get a big player or just stay there. It was really hard to predict what was going to happen, even when it came out that the Chiefs traded up to get the 10th pick. People were still skeptical of what was going to happen. You heard reports about Mahomes and Watson. You heard reports about getting a defensive lineman. It was everywhere, but they went ahead and they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Ian, how'd you feel about that?
Let's
talk about our initial thoughts.
Initial reactions, yeah. Of course, I put out that live video of my reaction to the pick. What I was doing is I was just sitting in my room, just chilling, watching the draft, and then all of a sudden I saw that the Chiefs were on the clock. It was just so sudden, so I kind of rushed to grab my phone and I put it on the page, and I put up the live video. It was all just a really fast process because I didn't want to miss like my reaction to the actual pick. What was that?
Sorry,
you go.
I wasn't ready for it. I was at Denny's eating.
Yeah,
I was getting my my biscuits and gravy breakfast. I did not know that the Chiefs were going to trade up that far to go get that quarterback. I wasn't expecting it, but once it happened, I remembered that, oh yeah, quarterbacks are important. Mm-hmm. They're the most important thing, and of course these quarterbacks are all going to be gone by the 12th pick.
I'm guessing you were just sitting there, you got the notification that I went live, and that was like probably an indication, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was really like it came out of nowhere for me because I had forgotten about the link that you posted on the page that the Chiefs were considering trading into the top 10. And to me, obviously, that meant they had Patrick Mahomes in mind all along. I think they really were just trying to – they were calling pretty much every team in the top 10 from what I heard, including the Titans at number 5. They could have ended up trading to number 5. They would have given up more for that. But they clearly had Patrick Mahomes in mind. I wanted them to take Deshaun Watson. Obviously, I've said it feels like every show, like I say it all the time about how much Deshaun Watson is just my favorite player. But when I looked at the Patrick Mahomes tape, because on YouTube, obviously there's highlights, but if you actually type, the prospect player's name and then versus, you'll see things like Patrick Mahomes versus Texas or Patrick Mahomes versus Kansas State. And you'll see like every throw and everything or every scramble that he does. So you see the positives with the negatives. And just watching all of those videos, like I spent almost all weekend doing that because I wasn't really doing anything else. And I was very impressed with what I saw. I saw a lot more positive than negative. And it just makes me think that John Dorsey and Andy Reid know what they're doing. And maybe Mahomes will end up being the better pick, the better decision than Watson. So I'm really excited. I pretty much have convinced myself that the Chiefs made the right decision, even though I was initially upset that they chose Mahomes over Watson.
Yeah, when I first kind of researched for this draft and for the right quarterback, I mainly looked at the highlights of Watson because there were a lot. He
Right.
was in a big spotlight. He had the best stage in college football that you could ask for, and it was just a good area, a good place to really critique him. And there was a lot of positives. And then when you look up Mahomes, you see a lot of positives, but then you also look up the negatives, and there are a lot. But after the pick happened, you heard a couple reports coming out from other teams that they were upset that the Chiefs went up that high to get him, and they were wanting him.
A lot of teams wanted Mahomes.
That makes you feel good. It makes you feel real good. Like the New York Giants wanted Mahomes, and they have Eli Manning. They had the same idea the Chiefs had, only the Chiefs were willing to go up and get him. And originally, because I did not like the Mahomes pick, I was upset that they gave up too much for him. Well, looking back at that now and having my head on straight, I realized that they didn't really give up that much. They gave up a third-round pick this year and next year's first-round pick, right?
Right. And so of course they swapped first rounders, but that's a given.
But people put a twist on that when they're talking about it. They say they gave up 2 first-round picks. They didn't really. They just swapped this year's, right?
Yeah, they swapped this year's, so it's really not giving one up. They just gave up a first rounder next year, which to me, if you feel like the quarterback you're trading up for is going to be great, it's definitely well worth the trade. Quarterback's always going to be a gamble. But yeah, and just a third rounder, and then the Chiefs ended up having plenty of picks in the top 4 rounds. They drafted Mahomes, the defensive lineman. I think it's Tano Passanio. I don't know. I've heard the name said once out loud. And then Kareem Hunt, and then J.U. Chesson. They got 1 pick per round in this draft, so they still got, I think a pretty good value for their draft overall. So I have no problem with the trade. Maybe the biggest problem that somebody could have with it is that they're not going to have a first rounder next year. But if you're a great team, especially like the Patriots, look at the Patriots. They're not missing their first rounder. They couldn't care less. Like if you're a great team going into next year's draft, it's not going to matter that the Chiefs won't have a first round pick.
I think the most overlooked thing for me when it came to Mahomes was Texas Tech's defense.
Oh, yes.
They
were awful.
You look at the record and you look at the amount of mistakes he made, that it all kind of makes sense when you see the defense and how basically as soon as he scored a touchdown, he got a second to catch his breath, and then he's pretty much back out there on the field. And I think I didn't consider that into all the mistakes he made. And so I think when you take that into account, that makes you feel a lot better about him and his ability to grow. I'm not one of those people who believe that Alex Smith can groom him and become the best he can be. If Alex Smith wasn't here and he was starting next year, I don't see any difference. The difference I see, though, is when it comes to Andy Reid. And a lot of people like to mark him up as the quarterback guru. I don't necessarily buy into that either, but just the fact that he's a winning coach and he's been around for so long and he's worked with so many good quarterbacks, I think some of that will translate into making Mahomes the best player he can be and reducing those mistakes and really amplifying the things he's good at.
I agree, and I think a lot of people believe that Alex Smith can sort of, maybe not so much groom him, but just kind of mentor him. Maybe just, give him some pointers here and there. Maybe because Alex Smith is like the opposite of Patrick Mahomes, basically. So maybe some of Alex Smith's conservative and smart play can rub off on Mahomes a little bit. But even if it wasn't for Alex Smith, I feel like with a better defense, and Patrick Mahomes even said this after the draft, but with a better defense behind you, you're not going to be as inclined to make those risky throws that Mahomes had to make at Texas Tech because he had such a poor defense. I forget the reporter that he said it to, but Mahomes, said something along the lines of, I know I'm going to have a really good defense here, so I'm not going to have to make as many mistakes or something like that. I don't remember what exactly he said, but he was referencing the defense that he's going to have here in Kansas City. So I think that's really going to reduce the amount of bad decisions that he makes, coupled with working with Andy Reid. And I'm really excited. And I think because one of the reasons I really liked Watson over Mahomes is because Deshaun Watson showed us all. Watson showed everybody that he could come up with big throws in big situations. Well, Mahomes did that as well. Like, he did that as well in the research that I did. Mahomes was coming up with those big plays when his team needed it, those clutch plays. But the thing is that his defense would just come right back and give up score after score after score. There were so many games where they gave up 50, 60 points. It was just ridiculous. So I think if Mahomes has a really good defense behind him, he can prove that he can step up, carry a team, and win games.
Yeah, you look ahead at the Chiefs' schedule, and let's see here. October 8th, the Houston Texans come to Kansas City.
I think the Chiefs go to there, right? In Houston.
Oh, you're
Sunday
right.
Night Football.
You're right. So,
against possibly Deshaun Watson, who I think will win the starting job.
I mean, I feel like if you trade up to get Deshaun Watson in that Houston situation they have with the quarterback, you have to. The Chiefs are, I guess, lucky enough to have Alex Smith to, give time for Patrick Mahomes to, develop and really practice and iron out those mistakes. But who knows? We might see a Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson matchup.
That would be interesting. And even if it's not Mahomes under center, that's still Deshaun Watson against the Chiefs. And I don't, care what anybody says. Deshaun Watson is going to have the Chicago Bears on his radar because they took Mitchell Trubisky over him, and the Chiefs. He's going, and the Chiefs are in his conference, so he's going to face the Chiefs a pretty good, amount of times in his career. He's always going to remember the fact that he was sitting there in the green room at the draft, saw that the Chiefs traded up. He probably thought to himself, "Oh man, this might be me. I might be getting taken." Phone call never came or anything. The pick came in. Patrick Mahomes was taken over him. He's going to remember that, and I think he really liked the situation here in Kansas City. He liked the idea of going to play under Andy Reid, and then the Chiefs just passed up on him. He's going to remember that. So if he's under center for that Week 5 game, he may very well have a great game against the Chiefs, especially considering it's on Sunday Night Football. Again, he shines the brightest when the lights are the brightest. So
yeah, Houston Texans, they're pretty. I think if Deshaun Watson plays well and exceeds expectations, he could be possibly the team could be the Cowboys of this year.
I agree. It actually kind of scares me. Actually, I mean that's a really good team. They have a really good defense, and they are a really good quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contending team. And
go ahead. Sorry.
No. Okay. Well, we saw with the Cowboys last year, that team could have went to the Super Bowl. They could have won it with a rookie quarterback, a 4th-round quarterback. Deshaun Watson could be the same thing. I mean, who knows? He may very well be a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl this season. So
I mean, the Texans have a pretty solid team already. One of the big things they're missing, though, is a lot of weapons on offense. But who knows? Deshaun Watson might be able to take that and run with it. And you look at the Dallas Cowboys last year with Dak Prescott. He was darn good. And when it came to the playoffs, so he was not the reason they lost. They lost on a last-second field goal, which really, was because of the result of the game. It went down to that. Wasn't really his fault. He showed up and he played well. But you also have to take into account their running back they had, Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott, yeah. That definitely helped.
So I don't know if they can necessarily be that Cowboy level of last year, because they're going to need somebody like a running back or a wide receiver to step up too, along with Deshaun Watson. But still, that's a team that's very scary that the Chiefs could possibly face in the playoffs.
Yeah, something that worries me is Deshaun Watson to DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins before last season, because he really trailed off last season with horrible quarterback play. Hopkins was one of the elite receivers in the NFL. He has that potential. He could get back to that with a really good quarterback. So if Watson pans out, I mean that really could be a dangerous offense coupled with that defense. So
yeah, he might be a sleeper on fantasy football.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't want anybody else to steal him from me, but maybe that's a possible pick I'm going to be making. Maybe I'll trade up in our fantasy draft and I'll take Deshaun Watson. But I want to look at the rest of the Chiefs draft here, though.
I think
as much as we all love Patrick Mahomes, I mean,
you got to be happy with what they did. I mean, there's a number of positions that people said that they have to go out and get, and they went up and got the quarterback. And a lot of people were disappointed that they didn't play it safe and get the positions they want, but they still picked up a good number of guys. They got the defensive end, they got the running back, they picked up a wide receiver, and then they picked up another linebacker. Their running back, especially in the third round, Kareem Hunt, I looked him up a little bit. I'm really excited with what he can do because he's really explosive, and I think he can make a pretty quick impact on this team, especially on the state of the running backs that we have.
Yeah, I agree. He's so hard to tackle, and maybe he's not the fastest guy, but I just think his burst of acceleration is really going to be dangerous, and I think he can make an immediate impact. Unlike somebody like Mahomes, Hunt could step in, and he could very easily win the starting job with a great training camp in preseason. So I like that pick. I also really like the pick of J.U. Chesson, the wide receiver they took out of Michigan, because to me, he looks like a really polished receiver. He has great hands. He can catch in traffic. He's also fast. He ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. I think he could be a sleeper pick as well, especially in a wide receiver core that I'm not very impressed by. After Maclin and Hill, I mean, I really don't know who's going to be the third receiver. Maybe you could have Maclin and Chesson on the outside and Hill in the slot. I don't know what they're going to do there. I know some people like Chris Conley. I never really liked Chris Conley. I didn't like the pick when it was made. But I like J.U. Chesson a lot better than Conley's film. So I kind of compare the two because they were taken sort of in similar spots. Conley was taken in the third round. But I really like the pick of Chesson. And then looking at the rest of the draft, they got an inside linebacker from Georgia Southern, which is a really small school. But he did play at Florida State before being dismissed from the team. So it's another one of those character issues types of guys. But his name is Ukemi Eligwe. He goes by Michael. So we'll just call him Michael. And he's a big guy. He's a really big guy. So there's the potential there. And then you round it off with Leon McQuay III, who I don't even know what to say about him. Never heard of him. But that's what happens when you get into round 6. You see guys that nobody's ever heard of. So
like Tom Brady.
Exactly. So maybe he'll pan out. Maybe he'll be the Tom Brady of safeties. Who knows? But I overall I like the draft. I don't love it, but I would give it a B. Probably. I know the defensive end in the second round, Passanio, is a physical freak, but I just kind of wish they would have taken inside linebacker earlier. That's probably my biggest gripe.
Yeah, I think a B is a fair grade. Kind of what you said about that wide receiver, though, and what the Chiefs have right now. If Macklin played like Macklin should be playing, you might not even have to worry about the receiver core. But because he's kind of tailed off a little bit in the last year or two, you have to take that in consideration, and I hope that doesn't put too much pressure on Chesson. But hopefully, yeah, he comes in and steps up. Good overall draft, especially from the point of just excitement, you know.
Agreed.
I feel like the Chiefs are never in the spotlight, and that draft definitely gave them all the spotlight they wanted.
I think Mahomes definitely could make the Chiefs a very popular and exciting team in years to come. People won't complain about Alex Smith and the boring offense anymore once Mahomes is starting. So,
quick question before we transition to baseball for a little bit. So, yeah. I almost asked you this earlier, but I wanted to wait for now. If you could, would you want an Alex Smith team that went 10-6, or a Patrick Mahomes team that went 7-9 for next year? What would you rather have?
Depends on if that 10-6 team can make it to the Super Bowl.
The 10-6 team gets you a wild card game against the Texans and Deshaun Watson, who also panned out to be pretty good. So,
did they lose that game, or do we not know?
Don't know.
It's tough to say. If
everybody's healthy, though, there's no injuries in this Texans team.
I would take the 10-6 Alex Smith team just because they're in the playoffs. They might make it to the Super Bowl. And plus, you give Mahomes a year to sit on the bench, learn the terminology of the offense that's going to be way different than it was at Texas Tech. So I would take the 10-6 team. I can understand the 7-9 Mahomes team is probably more exciting, but I'll take the playoff team. Yeah. What about you?
No, I agree 100%. I tried throwing out some numbers out there that might make you think, but yeah, obviously you want a playoff contender.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so with that, let's talk a little baseball. There we go.
Got to have the music to go with it. I mean,
all right, so let's talk a little baseball. The Royals, very exciting team in the last couple weeks. In the month of April, they turned out to be a whopping 7 wins, 16 losses, and they're currently on a 9-game losing streak. Basically, in order to reach 500 by the end of the year, they would have to go 74-65, a record that's already good, but you would have to go that just to make 500 now, and that's not even talking about 90 wins to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand why the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes. He played baseball. He was a pitcher. Maybe they're trying to get him to help the Royals out. Because now not only is the hitting awful, the pitching is awful. The whole team is a mess right now. We had a show last week, and we talked about how the Royals got swept by the Rangers, and we were questioning whether to hit the panic button. That now a whole week has passed. We're sitting here doing another show. They still haven't won a game since then. It's just awful, and now they're getting ranked dead last in MLB power rankings.
I mean, they have the worst record now. They have 7 wins. Toronto, who started off like 2-12, already has more wins than them.
Yeah,
and
it's atrocious.
You look at the highlights of the week. I mean, Thursday could have been a highlight. Saturday could have been a highlight. Thursday, they'd had no game, and then Saturday, their game was rained out. And so that's what basically the highlights are for this week.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's really sad to watch this team because they look like they don't want to be out there right now. They don't look motivated. They look like they're ready for the season to be over already, and it's May 1st. There's not anybody hitting over 300, and I just say that because I have this pulled up. I have the hitting stats pulled up. Jorge Bonifacio is leading the way with a 292 batting average, and then you have Lorenzo Cain in second with 272. So if you
a week ago that was like 350.
Yeah, you know? I guess it's early in the season, but I mean Cain is kind of cooled down this week, and so yeah, but batting averages will fluctuate a lot at this point in the season. But the Royals now, they weren't able to hit, and now they can't hit or pitch. it seems like they're hitting a little better now, but I feel like a lot of their runs are coming later in games anyway. And then the starting pitching is doing exactly what I feared when I said last week that the starting pitching was going to kind of fall back down to earth a little bit, and it has. Hamill has struggled. Vargas had a bad outing.
Joakim Soria gave up a lead.
Yeah, Soria.
What
gave
about
up a
that?
lead. Back to that.
Are you changing your opinion on him already? Or?
I mean, no. I'll still like give him a little bit of time. I mean, every once in a while you're gonna give up a lead. He's still definitely improved from last year. And I think it'll kind of stay that way the rest of the season.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now it's not a Soria thing; it's a Royals thing.
Yeah, like you can't. Last year we were able to blame Joakim Soria. He was the scapegoat for seemingly everything. But now it's just the whole team. Like I don't even know what to point out anymore. It's become a dumpster fire, and it's really just strange how the team can win the World Series 2 years ago, and then now they're this bad. I don't foresee the Royals finishing the season as MLB's worst team, but I don't know, man. It doesn't look good right now.
Yeah, I don't get it. I heard somebody talking about how they just can't handle the pressure right now. When I hear that makes me automatically think, what about the pressure of the 2014 World Series or the 2015 World Series or the wild card game? There's so much pressure in those situations, and they, for the most part, shine in all of them except for 2014 Game 7, which even then you got to tip your hat off to the Giants, not necessarily get mad at the Royals. But it just doesn't make sense. What pressure? And so I got to thinking, what else could be going on that's non-baseball related? And you can't really think of anything. I thought for a second, Perez just had his child. I think it's a second child, and Escobar has a little boy running around. And I'm thinking maybe these guys are just not that into baseball that much.
I feel like what I personally think it's a combination of they spent a lot of their energy on those World Series runs, and maybe it's the combination of that and maybe Yordano Ventura, because I mean he was a big presence in that locker room, and now he's gone. And obviously, you had a season last year where the Royals had a down year. They didn't make the playoffs, and so they're trying to bounce back from something like that. Then you lose Ventura, and then I don't know. The team just doesn't look motivated at all whatsoever. I don't think really it's a skill-based thing, because I think this is a pretty talented roster. They're just not performing up to their standards whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess you could chalk it up to them just being tired. That would make a little bit of sense. I mean, the Royals ended their last game. Lorenzo Cain struck out, and he was the tying run up to bat. And so I guess you could take that into consideration that maybe these guys are just tired, which is really unfortunate because they're doing the wrong time. And you're thinking about trading these guys to get back prospects and stuff like that. But if they're doing this poorly, they're basically at like a sell low right now. Like, you're not going to get as much as what you would have in the offseason.
Yeah, it really is something, it is kind of a tough situation. So I think if they are sellers, they're probably going to do it a lot closer to the deadline, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I was thinking that, a nice home stretch would help this team out a lot. Well, 2 games have passed, they've lost. But hopefully, cross your fingers, they still got 4-game series against the White Sox and 3-game against the Cleveland. Who knows? We might see a nice 7-game win streak.
Hopefully. That's all we can hope for at this point.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. Thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers.
Hey, this is Sid. Listen to my Mega Music Hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. K-Roo Student Radio, UMKC, Kansas City.
I used to go to Swinney and watch heroes like Kirksey, Corver, Agent Zero. With Lee, Leathers, and O'Connor, the other team will be a goner. They play basketball at UMKC, all while earning a college degree. And number 33, my man Brad Reed, is the center on my starting team. Tune in for all your sports coverage on K-Roo.
Hey guys, this is Casey. Make sure you check in every Wednesday from 3 to 5 for my show, The Ox. I'll be playing tons of great new music, so you can hear it first on K-Roo.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay. Listen to The Lindsay Show, Mondays 4 to 6 on K-Roo.
You know, K-Roo listeners, I love you, and I love rock and roll. And if you love rock and roll, listen to Archive 59 with me, Brian Will, from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights, only on K-Roo.
Tune into K-Roo March 9th through the 12th for all of your Summit League tournament coverage.
It hurts my feelings when you don't listen. If you don't listen, I will hurt this puppy. Think about the puppies.
What's up? This your girl Aisha, aka DJ Retro from E&J Show. Tune in at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I slap a little bit of this and that. You listen to K-Roo.
Heart Stars and Horseshoes, Clovers and K-Roo. You listen to K-Roo, student radio.
I feel the need for K-Roo.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to K-Roo every once in a while, you might miss it. You're listening to K-Roo, student radio.
The program you're listening to is sponsored by the UMKC College Republicans. The views and opinions expressed do not reflect those of K-Roo Student Radio.
Are you going on a wild road trip, hosting a dance party for one? Or are you stuck in your dorm wondering how to tie your shoes? Look no further. Listen to Hop and Jams with Laura Hop, Wednesdays and Fridays at noon to hear some groovy tunes fit for any of these situations.
I hate to say this, guys, because he's normally an idiot, but Rand Paul may be right on this one.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Let's hope they find all the good acorns on the Democratic side of the aisle.
I'm not asking them to be Democrats. I'm just asking them to not be Republicans.
All right, listen, here's what it is. Tune into All That's Left, the best liberal show on the air, on K-Roo, every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, the best standard time. And here's what I'm going to do for you. If you listen, we promise not to put your grandma on Obama's death panel list. So listen.
All right, welcome back from the break. don't forget, if you have any questions you'd like to ask us, you can text us 816-287-0090. That's 816-287-0090. Remember, you can look us up on Facebook. The Benchwarmers on K-Roo Radio. That's our Facebook page, right? Right, Ian?
Right, that's right. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so go ahead, give us a like. I think we're pushing 40 likes now. That's really exciting. Even though it's been at 39 for about a month.
Yeah, we're aiming for higher, though. So just spread the word about the Benchwarmers if you like listening to the Benchwarmers. Just tell your friends. I mean, tell everybody that's into sports. We bring the sports.
Yeah, we got lots of sports to talk about. Speaking of sports, Ian, what time is it?
It's time for our headlines of the week.
All right, headlines of the week is brought to you by nothing. Sponsored by nothing, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We can make up something. It's sponsored by K-Roo Radio.
Exactly, our own station.
Yeah, K-Roo Student Radio.
Brought to you by ourselves.
Yes. All right, anyways, Sporting KC defeated, I think I'm saying this correct, Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, Real.
Yeah, Sporting KC defeated Real Salt Lake 3-0 on Saturday. The team is now sitting second place in the Western Conference with 4 wins, 3 ties, and 1 loss.
All right, I got the notification that Sporting KC won, so that's about as much as I know about that game.
You know, I haven't given them enough credit, and from now on, whenever there's a Sporting KC game on and a Royals game on at the same time, I'm going to go to Fox Sports Plus and watch Sporting KC because that's a winning team. They deserve more credit. They deserve more fans. The Royals haven't done anything to deserve my view, so I'm going to switch over to soccer.
I mean, yeah, I definitely want to watch more Sporting KC. I just think I just always forget about them. Like, I think of them, I tell myself at times like this, like it sounds exciting to be into Sporting KC and to kind of know what's going on there. But then as soon as I leave the studio here, I'm probably not going to think about it.
Well, we need to fix that. We need to get updates on their phone or something because, I mean, they scored 3 goals.
I get notifications after the games, and so I kind of need to like get notifications like when they're about to start.
They scored 3 goals. That's more than what the Royals have averaged in the last 17 weeks, it seems like.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
All right, so next, with the final pick of the 2017 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select quarterback Chad Kelly out of Ole Miss, officially pinning him as this year's Mr. Irrelevant. Ian, do you think he will ever see the field against the Chiefs? Should we start worrying?
No, I think they have Paxton Lynch, a first-rounder from last year, waiting in the wings, so I don't think Chad Kelly's going to get his turn anytime soon. A lot of people, though, think he was a steal at that pick. They think he was maybe like, I saw as high as a second-round prospect. I don't know if I agree with that. And he kind of had some character issues. I didn't want the Chiefs going anywhere near him. There were rumors that the Chiefs were maybe interested in him, but I'm glad that it's Mahomes and Casey instead of Chad Kelly. I know he's Jim Kelly's nephew and everything, and Jim Kelly was a great quarterback, but I'll pass on a Chad Kelly. He can go to Denver.
Well, I'm going to do a hot take. I think he should be the starter there day one for the Denver Broncos.
That's a flaming take. I mean, that's more than just a hot take.
I think he was definitely underrated, and this is a year where there were a lot of quarterbacks taken early. Definitely shouldn't be a second-rounder, but I don't know. Maybe I just want him to start so the Broncos go 0-16.
Yeah, if you're looking at it that way, I wouldn't mind that.
All right. So Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour have all passed on endorsing NBA prospect Lonzo Ball, reportedly due to LeVar Ball's efforts to include the licensing of the Big Baller brand. Ian, what do you think about that?
I think LeVar Ball just needs to go away. I don't like anything about him.
Isn't he costing his son possibly millions of dollars here?
Yeah, and I mean, now it's like
he's a lottery pick going into the NBA draft for next year.
Yeah, if I were Lonzo Ball, like, I know it's my dad, but I'm telling him to, like, shut up, like, stop. You're ruining chances for me. And now he keeps opening his big mouth, and this is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this thing on Twitter where it was like a GIF of LeVar Ball walking in the Skechers. You know, like he eventually is going to ruin all his paths to any credible basketball shoe company. He might have to sign a deal with Skechers by the end of it all, because big baller brand. Who knows? Maybe beforehand it could have been successful, but with all this media and attention and everybody just hating it and getting tired of this guy, there's no way this brand's going to be something.
Nah, I just feel like we're going to hear about this for years to come. LeVar Ball, even when Lonzo's 38 years old, and his dad's still going to be trying to be his dad for him. So I don't know. I mean, I'm tired of LeVar Ball at this point.
Yeah, me too. All right, so next news. On an interview with ESPN's show, Mike and Mike, Roger Goodell said that the NFL still sees no medical benefits from marijuana. Ian, do you still agree with this, or do you have some problem with him saying that?
I don't know how I feel about this issue. I'm just kind of neutral on it because this whole marijuana thing just has no effect on me or my life. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with it one way or another. I just don't really care.
I understand the benefits for what it might give for the players, as in like the pain tolerance. Mm-hmm. But he did bring up good points about how, you're still, at the end of the day, you're inhaling smoke and it's going into your lungs. And I think for medical purposes that he might bring up some good points. So I can understand why the players want it, because it's a physical sport and it helps them with the pain. But on the other hand, I understand his point. That being said, I still feel like the NFL should stop, going out of their way to drug test guys and try to get them suspended. I think that should be on the players. That should be the player's choice,
Yeah, I think it definitely. This kind of goes both ways. The players really, somebody like Josh Gordon, who's gotten suspended multiple times for possession of marijuana, and it's like you wonder, like, why can't the guy just stop? And yeah, he keeps doing it over and over. So
that was another point that Goodell brought up, that it was that marijuana was addictive.
Yeah, and a lot of people argue that. Again, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that. But I mean, come on, if you're doing it over and over again, what does that tell you? If you're gonna claim it's not addictive, well, what does it tell you when you're putting millions and millions of dollars on the line, your NFL career on the line, and you're just a repeat offender over and over? I just think it goes both ways. The whole thing is just kind of a silly issue to me.
All right. And last but not least, in the NBA, Larry Bird is officially stepping down as the president of the Pacers. Ian, why do you think that might be?
I don't know, actually. Why is he stepping down? Is it after they lost to
there's some
Cavaliers?
Yeah, it was after they got swept by the Cavaliers, and there's some speculation why. But, I mean, if you watch any one of those games, I think I watched maybe 1.5 of those games between the LeBron
I didn't watch
and
any.
the Pacers. Between LeBron and the Pacers. That was the matchup.
Yeah.
But anyways, they would zoom in on him and his face, and he just looked so depressed. And I know that he's had some good runs. I know this team's gotten 60-some win seasons while he was president. And they got Paul George, but they really did nothing with that, and they never really challenged anybody in the already weak Eastern Conference. So I don't know if he's just tired or he's disappointed in himself. I think there's a lot of potential that was left off from the team, but I don't know. He should enjoy retirement.
I think it's the right decision. I mean, the Warriors and the Cavaliers have seemingly taken over the NBA. It's just, if I were him, I'd do the same thing. I would sit there, watch LeBron sweep my team, and I'd be like, why am I doing this? I'm done. I'm out.
All right, and that was Headlines of the Week. All right, so Ian, I think at the beginning of the show, we may or may not have mentioned it, but we have a guest today, right?
We do have a guest, and I don't think we mentioned it, so let's go ahead and introduce our guest.
All right, I think I got his mic on, right?
That should be good.
Standing in at 6'2", recently graduated from UMKC with a degree in secondary education and history, Vincent Terranova. Vincent, how are you today?
Oh, I'm great, Mr. Brad Ross. How are you?
Oh, I think we're both doing fantastic.
Sorry, Ian. I forgot you were
I'm here too.
Oh, yeah. Are you good?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear
I'm
it.
excited for this.
Me too. It's been a long time coming.
So, Vincent, you recently, I guess, graduated from UMKC?
Yeah, I just completed my student teaching at Raytown High School. It's been a good experience, and I'm ready to find my own teaching job somewhere. So,
that's going to be exciting.
Yep.
Did you like the song I picked for your intro?
Oh, absolutely. John Cena. I mean, who else?
You're the biggest John Cena fan I know.
Absolutely. I love him. Great guy.
All right, so basically we brought you in not only because you're a great UMKC alumni, but also because we want to do another mini game. Is that what I should call it?
Mini game? I don't know. A few weeks back we did a trivia game with another guest, and now we kind of got a similar thing. It's not trivia, but it's a game.
I like games, so.
So basically what we're going to do here on the show, I'm going to lower the music a little bit. Or all the way.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay, so we'll hear it again if Vincent wins the game. So basically, I have in front of me on my phone 5 iconic photos from Kansas City sports history. I'm going to show Vincent the photo, and what Vincent has to do is describe the photo in detail to Ian. But he cannot say the name of the jersey or the number on the jersey, and Ian has to guess the player that's in that photo. I have 5 photos, and if they get 3 of them, Vincent gets a special prize.
So this is kind of like diving into history, sort of, sports history, a little bit, or maybe recent, or maybe we don't know.
I'll say for the most part recent.
Okay. I feel pretty confident in that then.
All right, so are you guys ready?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, I'm going to hand off my phone to Vincent. He's going to look at the first photo. Remember, you can't say the jersey names or the number.
There is a man, and he is hanging from the goalpost, and he looks very happy. There's a crowd behind him cheering because, it's football. That's what they tend to do.
Right. So he's hanging on a goalpost.
You can guess at any time.
He's hanging on a goalpost.
Do I get like a strike for it? Can I just keep guessing until I get it?
I'll give you a couple chances.
Okay. Okay, he was hanging on a goalpost, and then what? Any specific?
He looks like he might have just, scored a goal or a touchdown.
Touchdown? So it's football?
It is football. I mean,
okay.
I thought they were all the
goal.
Chiefs. Okay.
All right. Is it Tony Gonzalez dunking after a touchdown? Dunking the ball?
Hold on, I'm trying to get the sound effect ready.
He was famous for that.
Yeah, okay.
Let me get the sound effect ready.
Is it the winning sound effect? As in, I got it right sound effect?
It better be that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Very
yes.
There it is.
All
You're
right.
correct. It is Tony Gonzalez.
We're 1 for 5.
You're 1 for 1. All right, second photo. Remember, no jersey name, no number.
Okay. It's the Royals.
Right.
There is a guy sliding onto the base above a ref, and there's another guy. He's sitting on the ground, and he doesn't have his helmet on.
So let me explain. That last photo was kind of generic because Tony Gonzalez did that all the time.
Yeah.
This is a recent memory, and it's also iconic. You can look up a phrase for it, and you'll find it everywhere.
Okay, so Royals player sliding?
It's a Royals player sliding into... I don't think that's home. It's definitely not home. I'm not sure which base it is, but it's not home base. And there's a ref standing over him. Or the umpire, my bad.
I must be missing something. Umpire, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. My bad.
No,
and then
man,
there's a guy just kind of crouched over with his...
Yeah, okay. So
I thought it was a helmet at first, but...
This is a recent, iconic Royals moment. So I'm guessing it's either from 2014 or 2015, probably during one of those postseason runs.
The guy who's on the ground has a World Series emblem on his arm, on the arm of his shirt.
Good eye.
So it was in the World Series.
Yes, it was.
Is this Eric Hosmer sliding into home plate? Is it Eric Hosmer?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I'm
You're
getting
correct.
all those.
It's Eric Hosmer's
details.
mad dash to home. So it is home plate, Vincent. You were
Home
wrong.
plate.
Well,
about
you
that.
know,
that tripped me up for a moment. But
Can't all be perfect.
All right, but you were correct. That was Hosmer's 9th inning, Game 5, 2015 World Series mad dash, which is pretty iconic in
Yeah,
the world
definitely.
of baseball.
Yeah.
You look up mad dash, and that will usually come up. All
Very
right,
good.
so you're 2 for 2. One more, and Vincent gets a prize.
I thought there were 5.
Well, you need to get 3 correct.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
I'm going to change it up, too. Ian, you get 1 guess. Since you're
Okay.
doing so great, you probably don't need 2 guesses,
right.
but we'll give you.
One
We'll limit
guess.
you to 1 guess.
So it's baseball. It's a Rose player. He is above a crowd, catching the ball.
above a crowd catching the ball.
Like he's not really like above the crowd, but he's like jumping over the fence to grab the ball, and like there's a crowd cheering for him. I'm not sure which game this is because it doesn't.
Any other details?
I mean, not really. I mean, it's just.
He's jumping into the crowd.
Yeah, he's jumping into the crowd trying to catch the ball.
Am I allowed to ask like what color the uniform was?
Vincent,
I mean,
is supposed to describe everything.
Okay,
and
fine.
you
He's
just
wearing
guess.
wearing white. It's white, and the number in the name is blue.
Okay.
It's okay if you want to ask
But
questions.
that's okay. But that was. Okay.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
it?
Yeah.
He's jumping into the crowd.
And the people are screaming, and they're excited because they're so close to their superstar.
Man, I have 2 names in mind. I'm gonna go with Alex Gordon.
No.
That is incorrect. It's actually Mike Moustakas
yep.
leaning over the rail, not
Man.
jumping. I guess I could have gotten a little bit better picture, but
That was the other play that was in my mind. I don't know why I didn't go with that.
I gotta go with moves. Come on.
But you were close. All right, so you're 2 for 3. You still have a chance of winning the awesome prize that we have for Vincent, just for him. All right.
So, question: can I say the names of non-players?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
So there's a player standing next to Andy Reid, and he's all in a suit and tie, and they're holding his jersey for him. This is the Chiefs, obviously.
I think I know this one. I should know this
if
one.
you're ready to
unless
guess.
You're trying to
I mean,
guess.
this is like when he says it's recent. It's extremely recent.
Okay.
As in, like, I know what's going on here.
You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Is it Deshaun? No, I'm just kidding. Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
There you go.
You are correct. It's officially John Dorsey and Andy Reid taking a picture with Patrick Mahomes holding his jersey. Here you go.
I see it.
See, that was good.
That was a good guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about throwing up, any player really to make it a loss, but
It's got to be topical.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so Vincent, that's 3 already, but let's go for the bonus round. This is the last picture.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. The person we're trying to get named here is this guy.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Oh man, this ought to be great. Okay, it's the Chiefs again. There's one guy who is making kind of this kind of thing.
All right.
I mean, I know you guys can't see what I just did, but like
This kind of thing.
kind of looks like a goalpost. He's kind of trying to make.
Holding fingers.
Yeah,
up
holding
in the
fingers
air.
up,
Pointing
kind of like
fingers.
pointing up.
Pointing both fingers up to the sky.
Yeah, and there's another guy beneath him who is crouching with his hand on his head. Like, I'm not sure why he's laying there. I see.
You're supposed to name the person pointing up, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see Broncos fans in the background because I see the orange.
Okay.
So this is probably a pretty big game. I'm just
All right.
assuming just based on the rivalry.
I said it. You said.
Can
it
I
could ask
tell him
questions.
the name or like the number of the other guy?
No. Ian, do you have any idea?
I have an idea.
I mean, you should.
Can I ask the colors of the uniforms?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, he's
Are
wearing
the Chiefs wearing white jerseys?
Yes.
Red pants.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, hold on.
This is suspenseful. Are you playing the
thing? I'm messing it up over here. Here we go.
No.
You are incorrect. It's actually Cairo Santos.
I was thinking of that same game because that's the picture of K-Roo Santos kicking the field goal. For some reason, I was thinking of hands in the air. I was thinking of Tyreek Hill and D'Anthony Thomas on the punt return.
That was a good guess.
But I was in the same game, and I didn't even think of that field goal.
All right. Well, no, this was the Chiefs against the Broncos, the 30-27 overtime win, where Santos kicked it off the goalpost, and it still went in, and everybody went crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So
I was there.
You were there?
You
Oh,
were
cool.
there.
Oh yeah, I was there.
That must have been really expensive.
Oh yeah, I had to, donate a lot of stuff.
It was a good game, right?
It was the best game of my life.
All right, so let me go ahead and grab the prize from my backpack.
Oh.
So
this ought to be good.
Build up some suspense.
Here he goes. He's getting up.
Oh yes.
Who's going to get that prize?
Shaking in anticipation.
I wonder what the prize could be. What is it? What do you think it is, Vincent?
I have no idea.
If you guess it, you can have two of them.
$100 bills.
Ooh, nice guess, but you are incorrect. It's actually a K-Roo UMK student radio koozie.
Oh, I've always wanted one of those.
Yeah,
in
and
case you don't know,
that's all
there's
yours
like a
now.
cup holder type of thing.
I'm not sure if that's actually mine to
Can
give out.
holder.
I'm not sure if that's mine to give out, but there's two
it's okay.
full
I'll
boxes
cover the cost
in the studio, and I'm gonna give them away to guests who do well on our games until someone tells me to stop.
Oh, well, that's a good way of doing it.
I like it, man.
I
want
appreciate it. You know what? Thank you
that.
for allowing me on your fantastic program.
You're welcome. So before we end the show today, Vincent, maybe you can help us out.
All right.
Last week, this nice chair I'm sitting in showed up. Neither of us sat in it, though. We actually made a bet. And the winner of that bet, which was me, gets to sit in it. So now we're trying to think of another bet for next Monday and to determine who gets the chair. Do you guys, Ian, Vincent, do you guys have an idea what kind of bet we can do?
Does it have to be necessarily sports related?
If you have anything that could happen within the next week, no, it doesn't have to be sports related.
I mean, I know my idea.
Share it. Go ahead and share it.
It could have to do with how many games we think the Royals will win this week. I know you're more the optimist.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
How many games do they play over the next week?
I don't think they have an off day, do they?
No, they play 4 against the White Sox and then 3 against Cleveland. So they play 7 games.
I don't think they win any more than 2.
You going with 2? Vincent,
Yeah.
what do you think about this bet?
I think it's a great bet. Can I bet as well?
Yeah, and if you get it, we'll give you another koozie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can have
awesome.
2 drinks in both hands.
Awesome.
Or 1 drink in
the
each hand.
American dream.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that the Royals are going to win every game they play this week.
Okay, so Vincent's going with 7. Ian, you're going with
2.
Man, this is tough. I'm going to go with 4. I think they're going to. Yeah, I think they're going to finish 4-3 the rest of their games. Turn it around a little bit. Yeah, that's my optimist. That's the most optimistic I can be right now. Is 4 wins out of 7 for this team that's really struggling. But hopefully it happens.
See, I think if I'm like helping them out here and giving them the morale they need, I think they're going to win. They're going to go for it, and then I'm going to get my second little.
Because you know they're all listening right now.
Exactly.
They're going to go from a 9-game losing streak to a 7-game winning streak.
All right. Well, Vincent, once again, thank you for coming on. You were terrific. That was a fun game show.
It was.
You have any last second thing you want to say?
Go Roos, I guess.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers. We'll see you next Monday.